Just to pick you up on one little thing, when Ian asked a question and mentioned about being praised for the Man City performance, you very quickly said after the game.
Yeah.
Does that suggest that before the game?
I was joking, mate.
I just wonder because there's a pattern of before some of these games. There's lots of discussion and debates.
That's great. That's brilliant, mate. That's all right. That's what we love about the game, mate. That's you want, like I love it when you see two blokes arguing about football. You think they're going to kill each other, and then you go the next day and they're sitting at the same table arguing again. So that's what we love about the game. It's a difference of opinion. It's a difference. I love that part of it. Like I said before the City game, it'd be pretty boring, and I wouldn't be anywhere near as interested if everyone was just had the same opinion about something. So, from my perspective, it's the fact that football does sort of give so many voices the opportunity to have an opinion about it. Now, it doesn't mean I have to listen to all of it or I believe everything about it. It's not sort of what I tap into, but I love the fact that football does bring discussion and debate to the table. So I've got no issue with it, and and even I treat it in equal measure. Even the so-called plaudits after it doesn't really affect me, but I love the fact that some people get excited by it and others think no, it's a load of crap.
On opinions, the West Ham co-chair Karren Brady seems to have quite a high opinion of you. I don't know if you're aware. Last season she wrote a column. She wrote a column in some newspaper, and it was like a love letter to you. It was just like, I just wondered what it would be amazing if you ever come to the Premier League. She listed all your achievements. Were you aware of that at the time? Did anyone make you aware of it?
No, but no, I don't. I've never met Karren. No, I don't think I've ever come across her. But in many respects, wouldn't that make her fairly ahead of the game? No. Yeah. So I reckon she's a pretty smart operator. But yeah, I'm not sure about the love letter stuff, mate. I mean, but no, look, I guess me kind of moving to Celtic kind of brought me closer to this part of the world. I was aware that particularly, say, Celtic Rangers, everyone down here watches it, so it kind of gets into people's consciousness. But I guess if Karren noticed, then like I said, all credit to her.
That's the first question about the discussion before the City game. What did you perceive as being the kind of elements of argument, friction? What did you hear before that game? You were getting into or not?
No, I mean, I wasn't immersed in it, but it's just, even the questioning I was getting here, and it wasn't anything unusual to me. It's about, will you change your approach, and will that approach work? And I think there was a valid sort of backdrop to that Tottenham have had a fair bit of success playing a totally different way against it, and I thought that was great because that, as I said, those kind of things are the things that challenge my beliefs. Because when you kind of say, well, no, I understand that works, but I want to do it this way, because ultimately, if I waver in that moment, then it makes me start thinking, okay, maybe I have to look at this a little bit differently. Going to Man City and trying to play like we want to play, maybe it's not a good idea because this has worked in the past with Tottenham. So, and like I said, that's a valid discussion to have, for many people. But I guess my point to that was, well, that's not me though. And that's why I'm sitting here, because, the end game was never, well, I don't think is about just beating Manchester City, because if that was the end game, then there wouldn't be the change that has happened here.
I guess you've been a bit of vindication or...
No, it's not, because vindication would mean that I'm trying to prove something. I'm not. I'm trying to win. That's what I'm trying to do, and I don't waver on that because I want to prove a point. I just think this is the way forward, because this is what has worked for me my whole career. So there's a methodology I have, a belief I have that's got me to where I am today, and I believe will get Tottenham to where it needs to be. So along the way, if things work, I don't see that as a vindication. That's just me keeping doing it. If it's not working, then I just need to keep doing it, not trying to prove people wrong, if you know what I mean.
Tom?
There's some stats out this morning that their teams are scoring way more goals in the Premier League than they normally do. It's 3.16 per game, which is way up from what it was. Your team's been a big contributor to that. But why do you think that is? Why are teams scoring more goals?
It's about 20 minutes of extra game time every week, isn't there? So, it's an interesting one. If we did a goals per minute, would that work out? There's a stats freak out there. Will bring it out for me. I don't know, but I do enjoy it. I've got to admit, I think we still are well short in that area. It's still the area that I think we've got so much more upside in our front third to score more goals. I really feel like, apart from, like I said, there's some areas of we need to keep working on, but our front third stuff, I still think we've got so much more improvement to get to as a team. And we're seeing some of it at the moment. I think, Brennan and Decky, Kulusevski are starting to get a bit more familiar with their roles. And I think, Gio getting a couple of goals from midfield. But I just think it's an area we can certainly improve. But I think it's great. I think, ultimately it's, what people love about our game, that release of when a team scores and the more goals you have, I think that the more exciting games sort of get.
It was mentioned earlier that West Ham was your first game. So it was like a lifetime ago. But Gio Lo Celso actually scored in that. It felt like the first step in his reintegration. You had a few players in the summer who their futures looked like they were open. Spurs like Tom Mee, Lloris, obviously not out at the moment. You kept hold of Gio, and now you've proven yourself to be quite a key player. If you cast your mind back to that summer, what did you say to him? Did you say, the slate's wiped clean, and were you particularly impressed?
Yeah, look, I didn't have that specific sort of talk to him or anyone else. I think the players understand that. I mean, I think most players understand that. Some of it feel like, what they've done in the past is enough to, which that's fair enough as well. Or if they've come off a tough time, they see it as an opportunity for some sort of redemption. But I think the other thing with Gio, I think, I just wanted to make sure, not just him, but all those guys who, like I said, particularly maybe were on the periphery and uncertain about their future, was that I wasn't going to make any decision until they got a real good opportunity to show me what they could do and be part of it. And I sensed with him that that's all he wanted, and he was prepared to sort of take whatever fallout there was from that, but he wanted a decent shot at it. And, he was good through pre-season. And then obviously, I think the Fulham game was the second game of the year where he picked up the injury that set him back. But he's been good not just the last two games, but the last sort of month for us in terms of training and what he's been delivering. And hopefully that gives him the confidence, because he's definitely a talented player. You see how important he is to the Argentina national team.
Which, as a quick follow-up, Romero, obviously, fellow Argentinian, but since he's been given this vice captaincy leadership role, and it's quite a big Spanish contingent, especially has he played a big role in Gio coming back into
I suspect so. I know they're very close, and like I said, I think our dressing room, right now is a pretty sort of united, albeit eclectic one, where there are some, some differences in culture and music choice and all these other things, but they're a pretty united group, and they kind of integrate to with one another really well. But there's no doubt, Romero is a big influence over some of the guys that sort of are closest to him, and Gio's certainly one of them. But Gio's his own man. He's an experienced player. He knows what he wants out of his career, and he senses there's an opportunity now for him here, and he wants to make the most of it. And that's great for us, because with Matters out, he was going to be difficult to replace in terms of, and I don't think Gio's like for like, but Matters was providing goals and assists, and you kind of go, well, we need that, whoever comes in, and the fact that he's scored a couple of goals and he's been involved in a couple of goals has been great for us.
Matt, and then John, please.
And does Kulusevski prefer playing that central role?
I don't give them surveys, mate, and ask them. I think he has played there earlier in his career, but I always think that if there is players who can sort of do that, it's great for them to just experience that for a little bit. It gives them a different perspective again, and then when they go back out wide, or I don't know if it's his preferred position, I'm not sure which his preferred position is, it kind of frees them up a little bit. They see the game a little bit differently. It's a bit like sort of Sonny going to the central role. If I put him back out at left wing, he'd have a different perspective. So I'm not really sure.
Something about the Decky, which is what made me.
Yeah, I don't know, but I mean, I like him out wide. I think what he delivers out wide, and there's still areas we're really pushing him. I think he can be a much bigger goal threat and we're pushing him really hard in those areas. But just his general sort of energy and work rate and his ability to break lines with his running is probably, I think, more suited in my system to playing out wide. But watching him playing, centrally the last couple of games, he's very, very effective in there and certainly an option for us.
John?
As you've just given the new contract for Fraser Forster, and that's the top two keepers cemented for a long time. You've still got Hugo Lloris left over from a previous regime, it seems. What can you do with him? What does he want to do? What's going to happen?
Again, it's not something I kind of discuss with Hugo, but he's part of the first team. He's been here, trains hard every day. He's a big, I think the goalkeeping sort of unit, fraternity, whatever you want to call them, it's really a good environment. And whilst Hugo obviously hasn't been playing, has been part of the first team, it hasn't sort of changed his demeanour or the way he comes in every day. He's very professional. It's great for the other keepers to sort of have him there as somebody with great experience. But as they say, he's in the last year of his contract. Well, it's in the last 6 months now, and I'm sure he'll be thinking about his future and what he does sort of next step. But it's not something I'm sort of too focused on. I'm delighted we've signed Fraser on for another year. I think I've said numerous occasions in public that his training is just elite level, So, I still think he's a Premier League standard goalkeeper, absolutely. But as often in most cases, in squads, it's the guys who maybe aren't playing regularly that can sometimes, affect the mood of the whole group. And if you've got a guy like him who's not playing regularly, that's training the house down every day, it's a hell of an example to everyone else. And delighted to sort of have him on board for at least another year. Hopefully longer beyond that.
Rare for a player to go first choice of legend to invisible man on match days. Would you let him go just like that?
Well, it's not my decision. That's a decision for Hugo, the club. It's not. I don't have that power. I never want that power. My role is to, Hugo is a member of this squad, and how he trains every day is important to me. How he presents himself. Because if he wasn't, then I'd be dealing with it. But I haven't had to, because he's been absolutely first class in everything he's done. So, and again, as a manager, I don't take that for granted, because that could be a problem for me. Like most managers, it's the ones who aren't playing sometimes that give you the biggest headaches. And he hasn't given me any cause of concern with his approach, his application, or anything like that. But, it's his career. It's his sort of decision to make beyond that. It's not something that I would get involved with.
You must be looking at the chance of playing at least one game. What do you think?
I don't know, mate. I've lost 5 defenders and I could lose 7 goalkeepers. I don't know, mate. It's why I do treat everyone the same, because you don't know. He's a member of this team. He's a member of the squad, and you don't know what's down around the corner, and it's the way you treat people when they're not involved that will come back to bite you if you need them one day.
Okay, last couple, Darren, and then finish it down, please.
It's very in terms of like small and seven work.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've been fortunate. I've worked with some good ones, but irrespective of me, take me out of the equation. I think he's elite in every sort of aspect of it. Attacking players who've played in the Premier League. I'd be very surprised if by the time he's finished, which is well down the track, if he's not up there as one of the outstanding strikers. Because don't forget, a lot of his career's played out wide, but he's been a goal threat the whole time. Now I'm putting him inside, and he's got 9 goals already for the year. I think he's leading goal scorer for offside goals as well. So he's been outstanding, and I knew that before I got here. But just working with him every day and the example he sets as a person, as much as a footballer, is just outstanding, and even that's inspiring for me, when you see a person who, for all intents and purposes, has climbed the mountain many times in terms of his own football pedigree, that every day he loves what he does, and every day he feels it's a blessing, and every day that rubs off on other people, and then he plays the game like that. He runs around like he's a kid, literally, just chasing balls down, and like I said, to me, it still inspires me, and feel very grateful to be working with him.
We find out most about the players during their training, during his difficult periods, really show.
Yeah. That is the sort of definition of leadership is, what do you do when the chips are down, when things aren't going well, because everyone invariably looks there, that they look at your leaders. What are your leaders doing? And, I think he just got this thing in his head that whatever they say about me, good, bad or otherwise, I'm not going to stop running through this period. And that has an effect on people. It does, because a lot of that running is without reward. He doesn't get a reward for just chasing the ball down. But if your leader, and your best player is doing that, then me as a teammate, well, I can't not do it. I just cannot. I have to follow that lead, and through this period, we've had to sort of dig deep, and we're still, like I said, we're still not out of it. We're still going through it. He's been a force in showing us the way forward.
It used to be a time here when they were worried about the rain. Strikers in this very able to play. Presumably now your team, you see get to go into something very much.
He will be. He'll be a very important part of what we're building, and but that doesn't mean we wouldn't sign another striker, because I think even Sonny would demand it of me. If you're going to build a team that's going to win things, I've always found your best players want more good players in the building. They're not comfortable. They don't want to be comfortable. They don't want to just be sitting there saying, "Well, I'm the man." They want to know that they're going to be surrounded by other players who are just as motivated for success. So. But there's no doubt that Sonny will be a big part of that.
We want to learn if that started maybe. I don't know if you think about last watching when you're saying this documentary.
Outstanding, yeah.
Working to if he preferred to play really well and lose, play really bad and win. It's just what's said and which right. I'm presuming that's your.
Yeah, it is, and. Again, that's not the only way, the only road to success. I've seen other people who it's just about the winning, and you admire it so much, because I would find that so unrelenting, that pursuit of just the result, because a lot of times, particularly in football, the result is sometimes out of your hands. You can do everything right and still lose a game. And I would find that really hard to deal with, whereas my pursuit is about trying to play a certain way that will get us the result. And I find that, okay, if we played well and we haven't got the result, I get some sort of small comfort from that, So it's just a different approach, but it doesn't mean there's a right or wrong way. It's just, the road to success. But again,
That first goal that Son scored, that was a vindication of what it can be us with this is who we are.
Yeah, to be honest, I thought the second goal was more because, part of what we want to do was press, the best footballing side in the world aggressively, and when Gio scored his second goal, we're on the halfway line pressing them, trying to win the ball. That meant, Ben's man-on-man with Haaland and our fullbacks are man-on-man with their wingers, and that's part of it as well. It's not just what we do with the ball, it's what we do without the ball, taking that approach. And, that like I said, when you go into a game like that and that's your kind of what you want to do, if you come out of it, what you want is to give the players something, show them something to say, look, you did it. This is not just words. This is not just an idea. You did it. And it may have only been for small parts of the game, but if you can do it for small parts, that challenges now, can we extend that to bigger areas? Whereas if you never even try it, you never know. You don't know if you can do it or not. So if we change my approach for the Man City game, that's where I would have lost. I wouldn't have got any opportunity to give that feedback to the players. So, from that perspective, we got a lot of good sort of information out of that game, good and bad, like areas where we really struggled, but some, I explained it to the other coaches is, like when you're panning for gold, there's a lot of dirt there, but you're just looking for that little speck. And we got quite a few specks of gold that I could show the players after the game and say, you know what, if we keep digging here, we'll get some nuggets eventually.
Okay. Dan, do you want to finish there?